Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith, and this is your JIS News for Friday, April 25. Government will be reviewing the revenue measures for the 2014-2015 financial year and announce changes, if any, are made. A press release from the Finance Ministry on Thursday indicated that Dr. Peter Phillips made the announcement in a meeting with trade union leaders. In his budget presentation, the Finance Minister announced a $5.5 billion tax package plus $1.2 billion in revenues from the Road Maintenance Fund to finance a $6.7 billion gap in the budget. Dr. Phillips says any revision of the tax package must be on the basis that revenues will only be collected from sources most able to pay, and it should be equitable and fair. He acknowledged the sacrifices made by public sector workers, bondholders, and the general public to support Jamaica's economic reform program. The minister reiterated that since the signing of the extended fund facility with the International Monetary Fund, Jamaica had made steady progress while regaining the respect of the international financial community. He cautioned that Jamaica could only continue to move forward on the basis of consensus. In his budget presentation yesterday, opposition leader Andrew Holness recommended that to support the country's logistics hub plans, government pursue a policy of making Jamaica the regional training hub.
Mr. Speaker, I want our people to be able to run these new industries to the point where if it is going to be foreign owned, the owners say, you know what, it don't make sense that I put people on a plane and carry them to Jamaica. The Jamaican workers are just as good and better. It's better pay them to do it.
Mr. Holness recommended that government combine the training sections in the Ministry of Education with aspects of other ministries to create a Ministry of Knowledge, Economy and Growth. The Ministry of Health is stepping up work to address the risk factors associated with diabetes and other non-communicable diseases, NCDs. Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson says the ministry is now implementing healthy lifestyle programs at many community health centers. Meanwhile, the ministry's revised food-based dietary guidelines is being finalized, following which a public education campaign will be launched to encourage persons to eat the appropriate proportions of different food groups.
In addition to these interventions, we'll also be looking at ways to get the population to reduce their consumption of fats, sugar, and salt, and increase physical activity.
Meanwhile, the health minister says any legislation for the legal use of medical marijuana in Jamaica must factor a framework for regulation. Dr. Ferguson has voiced his support for decriminalization, but says his support does not extend to smoking the product.
I don't support smoking of marijuana, just as I don't support the smoking of tobacco. There are some carcinoids, which is part of the constituent elements of marijuana, that is useful in relation to health. But there are others that in many regards have created negative impact.
Cabinet has set up a committee comprising the Ministers of Health, Justice, National Security and Industry Investment and Commerce to examine the situation and determine the way forward. The Child Development Agency CDA has begun national consultations on the proposed revisions to the Adoption Act of 1958. Addressing stakeholders at the first consultation held on Wednesday in Kingston, both the CDA's executive director and the children's advocate agreed that review was necessary.
It should enhance predictability and the consistency of outcomes.
The review sought to highlight new and emerging issues both locally and internationally.
Members of the public are urged to give their views on the proposed revisions to the Act by viewing the document on the CDA website and submit written responses to info@cda.gov.jm or by fax to 924-9401. The next consultation will be held on April 28 in Runaway Bay. And finally, the Jamaican arm of the law enforcement 5-kilometer torch run is seeking to raise $4 million to offset expenses for Special Olympians who will be participating in the World Summer Games in Los Angeles, California. The torch run will be held on Saturday, April 26, starting and finishing at the Police Officers Club, 34 Hope Road. The law enforcement torch run will include the military, correctional officers, firefighters, Jamaica Customs, the Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency, and the Social Development Commission.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force, through its branches, areas and division, is pledging $1.2 million to the event. In addition to that, each division, and there are 19 of them, will be required to send in 20 participants to the 5K walk.
The Law Enforcement Torch Run, which began in 1981, involves law enforcement officers in over 35 nations. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Carrie Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.